And here we go. Hello. Hello. Welcome to the collective nightmare that is the Final Fantasy VIII Drawthrough. Howdy Jibby, howdy Ragdoll, how do? Gyms are in the title, yes. Who knows what 9 will give us. I'll have to wait till next year to find that out. Yeah, how are we doing? Are we good? How's the week treating us so far? Chibbies are tired? Oh no. Oh no. Well, if it makes it any better, Chris's are tired, and slightly headachy. But today is chill part of the story, in as much as there's not really much story. We're gonna go around collecting a lot of Pokemon today, and also doing some other bits and bobs which aren't, well, they are important, but they're not particularly drawing intensive. So, yeah, we got some bits and pieces to do. This is going to be very much a laid-back stream before the absolute nonsense of the end of the story starts happening, so yeah, this is our last respite before the point of no return. Both in terms of the draw-through and in terms of the game. Yeah. We'll work that out. I did realise today, actually, that I was, I'm doing these in the order I played them, so that's fun. Implying it isn't already happening. True. Yeah. I don't know. I feel like there are steps in the story, right? Like there are points at which you're just sort of sailing along on one particular level of nonsense, but then you hit a step and you gotta jerk it up a bit, and now you're on a new level of nonsense until you hit the next step. And we're coming up to a step, but not today. So yeah, let's have a quick recap of what happened last. That's not the right one. There it is. No, that's not the right one either. There it is. Oh no, the tiredness is sinking in already. It does not matter. Right. So, what happened last time? I can't remember. Let's find out. Is this really the 17th stream? 17. Oh, word. So we were in space last time, at the beginning of last time. We'd already gone to space because Cheery had fallen into a coma, and we wanted to go to the futuristic city to try and work out how to get her out of a coma. So we go to the space station, get shot out of a gun into space, and they put Cheery in a capsule to try and do tests on her or something, and then alarms start going off and the capsule breaks open and she starts doing her zombie walk through the space station, knocking out scientists, and poking at buttons, and the buttons that she's poking at are disengaging the security measures on the prison thing that is holding Sorceress copyright from the past, who was previously the ruler of Estus, but was overthrown and chucked in a space prison, as you do. So she does that. She plonks buttons, and no one can stop her, because if you go near her, you just sort of get thrown across the room by magical weirdness. And she'd unlock some stuff, and then pops on a spacesuit and goes into space to continue the unlocking process. There it is. She's unlocking. While this is happening, should specify, the monsters on the moon, because the moon is covered with monsters, that's where monsters come from, all of the monsters on the moon are getting very agitated, and they're all gathering in one spot, which is not a good sign, because what that probably means is that there's going to be a lunar cry, which is when all of the monsters bulge up into a point so much that they fall off, they escape the gravitational pull of the moon, and the big ball of them just hurtles towards the Earth and smashes into it, and there are now lots of monsters on the planet. So that's the thing that appears to be happening. Yippity-doo. Meanwhile, Cheery is unlocking all of the things, which is presumably going to let the Sorceress out. And the Lunar Cry, it looks like, is going to happen right where this prison is. And it's going to crash into the prison and bring it back down to Earth/Gaia. And then it happens. This was my artist rendition of it happening. And it happened precisely where the a place called the Tears Point is, which I think is where the last lunar cry happened. And also coincidentally where the big square ship called the Lunatic Pandora is. And yeah, that's not a coincidence, as I'm sure you can ascertain. That ship does contain a massive crystal, by which I mean it is basically a sheet of metal wrapped around a massive crystal. And magic shenanigans occur. So yeah. And now there are lots of monsters on the Earth, and whiz bang crash, bad things happened. Back in space, this was the artist rendition of that happening. Back in space, because other people are up in space, Simon, having confronted Dishonor Jesse about sending them back in time to try and stop Cheery from getting into a coma in the first place, Jesse McCree is also here. He's just on. I think he's playing Snake on his Nokia or something. But he doesn't have anything to do with the plot, because these characters have one thing to do and then they're not relevant for the rest of the game. So while everyone gets into escape pods to try and get out of this not particularly advantageous situation, he's doing a speedrun of Snake on his Nokia. Yeah, everyone escapes the space station before it gets destroyed by the Lunar Cry. And Simon confronts Dishonored Jesse once again and says, look, we need to try something. Cheery is currently in space and will die if we don't do something to help her. Try and send me back to the past so we can change things. And she's like, you can't change stuff. And he's like, I don't care. At this point, I'll try anything. So we get put into a brief dream where we have a scene which explains that it was Cheery who was behind the prison escape from the beginning of Disc 2. Because she wanted to break Simon out because she's in love with him. This is a love story, I guess. Then we have a second flashback, because that one wasn't particularly useful. We have a second flashback to when she collapsed, and it turns out that she was being possessed at that point by Sorceress from the future. Future Sorceress, what's the name? STPP. Stop. Because Stop was possessing TM previously, and once we defeated TM, she stopped possessing her and started possessing Cheery instead. And what we saw of Cheery going down to Kyle and putting her face near his, which was sort of like a fake out of like, oh my god, is she kissing him? And I don't know why she would be. But was her saying, it was Stop vicariously saying through Cheery, hey look, I'm the sorceress, I'm still alive, you still need to do my work, go and get the Lunatic Pandora and make the Lunar Cry happen. And that's why he gets up and walks away. He's like, oh cool, I know what to do now. STPP actually sees us watching this, because she's also possessing people from the future, which is what we're doing. Only she can actually possess, we can just look. Carl was being an idiot as per usual. Yeah. So she sees us doing this and she's like, oh wait, get out of the brain I'm possessing. So we do. And then there's a second... look at that. And then we have a second... Wasn't there another one? No, okay, I just zoomed out evidently. We had a third flashback to Cheery in her spacesuit, who has now been depossessed, because apparently she's no longer useful, having now freed another sorceress. We'll get onto that. She's now floating in space and she doesn't have much oxygen. We managed to communicate with her somehow that she should probably turn on her emergency oxygen supply before she dies. And so she does that. And then Simon gets on a spacesuit and gets out and saves her. By saves her, I mean goes to her. Doesn't really have a plan as to how to save her, but then a spaceship appears that was just floating there and has fuel and oxygen. So they get in that and it's fine, apart from the aliens that are in it. So we fight some aliens. It's fine. Cheery is rather happy not to be dead and rather happy to be with Simon, because love story requires it. when they hit a load of buttons to try and get the spaceship to work, God, this explanation is taking longer than usual. When they hit a lot of buttons to make it work, they get into control. They get into contact with the people in Estus, who say, "Hey, we can bring your ship down if you press these buttons. By the way, when Cheery gets back here, she's now a sorceress, so we're going to have to put her in space prison." And that's not really what anybody wanted, but you know, it's for the safety of literally the entire planet. So we get back to Earth, Gaia, whatever. And Cheery's like, "Oh, okay, I better do. Don't worry. I know, Simon. I know you wanted to be with me, but it's fine. I'll go into space prison." Rational decision. So they do that. She goes to space prison, and Simon sulks in the ship a bit. The ship's called the Ragnarok, by the way. And the frame man decides to turn up, but after that, the bowling pin duo turn up and try to cheer up Simon, and it doesn't work. And then Velma comes along and tells everybody to be irresponsible, by which I mean tells Simon to believe in his heart and go and rescue Cheery by breaking her out of space prison, thus endangering the entire world. Frame Man is just really is having fun. Yeah, 0 kilobytes a second being broadcast right now. Whoa, whoa, spicy. I can only really blame Twitch for this. I don't think there's anything I can do on my end anymore. I've tried everything. Oh dear, frame man, frame me a man, do 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 do. Frame me, frame me, frame me. I blame Velma. Even Frame Man doesn't agree with Simon's decisions, which is fair enough. I think Frame Man's smarter than that. Although Frame Man is about chaos, so maybe not. Yep, no, the stream is just I'm not broadcasting anything now. Is anybody hearing this? Yeah, no, 0 kilobytes. Yeah, I'll be surprised if this actually gets broadcast anywhere. And now I'm broadcasting at 5,000, double the usual capacity to make up for the fact I wasn't streaming anything. Oh, people watching the VOD are probably very bored at the moment, but you know, most of the actual stream. This is a stream, it's supposed to be interactive, supposed to be able to communicate with people in real time. Twitch is having a field. Twitch is just, yeah. There really isn't anything I can do. Is there anything else I can close just in case? It's hogging the connection. Nope, it's literally just this. Okay, it might have stabilised now. Maybe. We have dropped almost 3,000 frames, which, given that this is 30 frames a second, that's 100 seconds already we've lost. Haven't even hit the 1.5 hour mark yet. Yeah, that's usually when Twitch explodes, so I'd heaven forfend to know how badly that's going to affect things. But I think we're back. Twitch is no longer loading, but you're very behind. If you refresh, it should be better. Do a hard refresh. Don't press refresh. Reload the address, if that makes sense. Because a soft refresh rarely works. Again, Twitch. It's weird, isn't it? So yeah, all you need to know, in addition to what happened, you don't actually need to know any of this. None of this is going to be relevant. Is that we break Cheery out of space prison. Is it better? I don't know. Oop, that's a slightly weird angle. Jaunty recap. Look at that. Yeah, that was just a weird patch of bad internet. A bit. Well, hopefully. Again, today's supposed to be a chill stream, so it's not gonna. We're not gonna be doing anything particularly rapidly. Still be like 15 seconds. That's not terrible. You know, that's Twitch before they added low latency, so. I do have to keep reminding myself this is a free service. Oh, hang on. Rain Man, please don't be like this. At least be nice to me on days I have a headache. Please. Please. Not a lot I can do, I'm afraid. I might have to look into looking for better routers, maybe. See whether or not it's just worth trailing a wire around and having a wired connection. I mean, a wired connection makes more sense, but yeah, it's not. I don't really want to jump into anything all the time when dropping this many frames. Continue while you can. I mean, it's sure. Anyway, we're told at this point, but some people from Estes come in and say, "Hey, the president wants to speak to you." This is after we break Cheery out of space prison. What is it about this time of night in this website? I don't know. That's 4,000 frames now. Cool. 10% of this stream has disappeared. Also, hi, miss. How you doing? Hello. Sorry to hear about the headache. It's fine. It happens occasionally. Like I say, we're not going into any deep plot today. We're just going around and collecting Pokemon. Nice chill plateau before the madness begins. And this was the first one we got, if you remember. We got this at the end of last time. We went to a desert and we got ourselves a big cactus. This is Jumbo Cactua, and if you defeat this, you get a small cactus as a friend. Let me just turn that around like that. Ooh, angled workflow, lovely. I like this track. This is a good track. So you got a little cactus friend. That's well. Oh, yeah. Cactus friend. It fires literally 1,000 needles at the enemy. Right. My setup feels really weird today. I did try and get it set up before the stream started, but evidently I didn't succeed. So defeating a legendary and getting an oddish. Yeah, we killed the big Tombury earlier, and it shrunk down into a normal one. So it was Don Tombury, King Tombury, one or the other. Anyway, we got that. That's the thing. Blah. Right. What else? Let's do the obvious one first. So we're gonna have to go and do a bit of a fetch quest for this. So let's sort this out. So, do you remember a while ago? And by a while ago, I mean about 2 or 3 streams. Let's say 3. No, 2. I said there was a place called Tears Point, and at Tears Point we could go and we could pick up a thing. Where is it? There it is. Here's Tears Point, and here there is a thing called the Solomon Ring. The legendary was a huge oddish, sure. Yeah, a Gigantamax oddish. That's what it's called, right? I don't have those games. So we're going to now use this. And how do you think we use the Solomon Ring to get ourselves a new Pokemon? Let's draw a ring called the Solomon Ring. What's Solomon known for? The name rings a bell, but I can't remember the story. It's just a person who did lots of stuff. Skiware? Okay, cool. We'll go with Skiware. Why not? Okay, so. I have to sing along to this, otherwise the copyright will get hit. It's a painful ring to wear, but it's a ring. Wasn't he a king of Israel? Apparently, yeah, he was. Well, he was. All the references I saw on my very, very, very brief look were to Judaism and such. So probably king of Israel. Yes. Just a bunch of sets of skis. Yeah, it's an unwieldy ring. Give me a couple of hours, I can come up with a better design than this, but it doesn't matter. Anyway, we have the Solomon ring. There it is. And what else do we need? We need this. Let's draw a remedy. Inexplicably. Potions and phoenix downs and elixirs. Oh, that's another thing I forgot. We can go back and do that in a sec. Something I completely forgot about with custard people. Here's a nice crystal stopper. We started with this music, and we will continue with it. Anyway, let's call this a remedy. Why not? It's a weird bottle. Don't worry about it. I can't design bottles. Right, so here's a remedy. It cures ailments. Here, I can't remember the exact number you need. Here, I wanted it to be, it was fancier in my head. Here's, let's say 10. I can't remember the exact number. Full of tango. My name is Tango. And if you put these all together, what do you get? You get a super squiggly bottle. This would be an opportunity to draw like a Klein bottle or something, but I do not have the mental wherewithal to be dealing with that right now. This one just has a cork. Spent all the money on the stoppers for the other bottles. Copy in the cat sticker. Could do. And that. And that. And... There we go. This is what you get. Ignore the drawing. Cat not included. Oop. Have it back. Only one for cat. Okay, the cat's not important to the thing I'm talking about, so you can have the cat. You can take that out of the equation. That's fine. Anyway, this is a remedy plus. By sticking 10 of them together, you can get a better one. That's how that works, right? You need a Pokemon to do it, but it's fine. Cat's DLC. That's fair. So remedy plus. Now we need 6 of these, so that's like 60 remedies. So this is step 1 of the process. This is a process we need to do, and I want you, as I'm mentioning this process, I want you to work out why we need the things we need. Okay. Doesn't Cloud pet cats in the remake? I don't know. This game needs a cat. We've improved it greatly. There are quirls, which are like wild cats, and they cast thunder spells. 6 cats called Remedy Plus. Yes. Okay, what else do we need? We also need, in a throwback to Mrs. first stream, we need... We have a dog and lion things that call Simon Jimmy. That's, yeah, we do have the tiger rabbits. Or Moombas, as I believe they're called. So yes, these things are still in the game because they're one of the signature enemies of these games. You got Cactuars, you got Tonberries, you got Bombs, you have these Malboro. What else do you have? The earlier games had a lot of goblins, but they didn't look like goblins. Yeah, so you need tentacles from these. You need to pluck their tentacles from them, but remember they have very bad breath, and their bad breath will inflict literally every status effect that there is in the game on you, and that's bad. Yeah, look at them go. You forgot about the Lion Muppet things. That's fine, they're not relevant. Yeah, so we need to get these Malboro tentacles. Tentacles. We need 6 of these. Okay, are we getting somewhere yet? Do we know what do we know what we're trying to do? We have the Ring of Skiing, 6 very powerful healing items, and a tentacle from something that inflicts status effects. Are we making holy water? Alas, holy water is just a basic item in this game, and so no, you can just buy that from a shop. So here is the last piece to the puzzle. I'm sure you can all work out what's going to happen now. I do need to keep talking over this music because it is one of the ones that does trigger copyright. Or I can just stop talking altogether and just say, okay, this part of the VOD's doomed. I'll cut it out. It's fine. I just won't say anything useful. Which tends to be what does happen when I have to cut audio out. Let's put you over here so I've got a bit more space. Yeah, this is, as far as the game is concerned, this is a Wendigo, which is just an enemy that you can fight in the world, and inexplicably it drops an item when you fight it, called a steel pipe. It doesn't use a steel pipe in battle; it just drops it. I also don't know why it doesn't have a head, but it's fine. Don't worry about it. It also is so strong that it literally curls your party members up into a basketball and throws them around as though they were a basketball. That is not a Wendigo. Look. If we tried to equate things in these games based on what they're named after, then half of the things would have to leave. So yeah, this is a Wendigo. How many drugs did the design team take for this? It's probably more we made a monster and the localization team had to come up with a name for it. Right, yeah, so that's Wendigo, and we need 6 steel pipes. The rest of the Wendigo don't care about, we just need the pipes. So, 6 tentacles, 6 steel pipes, 6 remedy pluses. Do we know what's going on yet? It would be sort of worse if it did look like one, all things considered, yeah? I still need to make a Wendigo comic for October. From what you can tell, Native Americans don't like it when Wendigos are depicted, so it's probably less offensive when it just doesn't look like it. That's fair. Armor Pokemon. It is a Pokemon. This is combining all of these things together will entice a Pokemon to come towards us. Would you like to guess what that Pokemon is? Or roughly what it is? Given all of the Pokemon we've seen so far? Set the scene a little bit. That's just gonna get annoying, actually. That's better. Sephiroth, Zeus, Jesus, no. Few guy from the Hades game? No. Loch Ness Monster? No. If you guessed Moogle? No. You have to be more specific. Probably got spikes or something. Sorry, I just looked over and saw just missed out used ad permitted term motherfuckers, and I'm like, cool. I'm glad everyone's enjoying this. This is the Doom Train. That's what we were doing this whole time. We were summoning the Doom Train. It looks only marginally cooler than what I've just drawn, but you get the idea. And this is our new Pokemon. It's the Doom Train. It's the Train Karina. I don't know. I haven't seen trophy stuff for a while. So yeah, this is our new Pokemon.
No, it's not. Ash can have it back.
I don't think so. It's ours now, whether we want it or not. So we should have done this before walking across the ocean. Probably. No, we couldn't have done it because we had to get the Solomon Ring, and that was on the other side of the ocean. So... we could have gotten everything else? Yeah, we could have gotten everything else, but we couldn't have gotten the ring. Go Pikachu, Pika Pika. Go Doom Train. Yeah. And it's got like this weird cutscene where it's like traveling through space and there's weird souls coming from it and stuff. There's a history in these games of the Ghost Train or the Doom Train or whatever. It's the meme of Final Fantasy VI, suplex the train. That's a thing. Yeah. So this is Doom Train. I don't know if you want to name it. I'll never draw it again. As is true of all the Pokemon. So yeah, there's basically in the game you find a magazine that says it's the occult magazine, and it's like, here's all the weird occult sightings from around the world, and it's like, this Solomon Ring is a weird thing, and it's supposed to hold mysterious properties, and if this person was using some steel pipes to make a fence and they got run over by a mysterious train, despite the fact they weren't near any tracks, and etc, and you put two and two together and you can get all the items. You're not naming it. We name it God, please put it out of its misery, doesn't want to live. God, please put it out of its misery. Welcome to the team, Gpaiui Miu Dwittle. Or is it the GPP 1001 M1 DWTL? Dwittle. We'll go with Dwittle. Why not? This is Dwittle. So this is Dwittle, the Doom Train. I actually want to see what it is. I'm sure there's more features I've forgotten. Oh yeah, this is pretty good. Looks like something out of... This looks like if they had continued making Silent Hill games for long enough for it to become a parody of itself, it would be in it. And it does look sad, so I got that right. Also, the carriages aren't normal carriages. They look like something from HR Giga. Anyway. You love them. Now I call them Dwittle. You love them. Yeah. So that's Dwittle. We've got Dwittle now. While we're here, We don't really have this Pokemon, but I'll just draw it anyway. So one thing I forgot to mention was that when we went to the land of the custard people, we were given an item for completing their quest, which I completely forgot about. And that item was I can't remember what it's called. Is it just called the Phoenix Pinion or something like that? Anyway, if you use it, Phoenix comes out and does big ol' fire damage to enemies, as well as reviving your party, which is pretty cool. And I think there's a chance it'll just happen after you do that or something. I can't remember exactly. It's also big ol' rainbow Phoenix, which I can't do here due to the gradient I have over the colours. But yeah, big old rainbow Phoenix is also technically in our party, kind of, not really. You can't do normal Pokemon stuff with it, but I guess it's a Pokemon. I completely forgot to mention that. So yeah, that's the thing. Alongside Odin. Odin isn't a normal Pokemon either. You can't. He just shows up whenever he wants. He shows up and just immediately kills an enemy at the start of a battle before you can do anything. It's like, oh, cheers, Odin. But his wants are fickle, and he will turn up precisely when he means to. Yeah. So that's cool. Next up. How about, did somebody say abandoned scientific research facility in the middle of the ocean? Oh, I think you did. So there's an abandoned scientific research facility in the middle of the ocean. Why is it there? I don't know. But it is. So we find it now that we can fly, and we can go in there. And there are a few things that happen in there, including there being just a big old cylinder. Big old blue cylinder just in the middle of the room. Where else would you put it? True. And it's sort of like very overgrown. There are like big tree roots coming out. I don't know what tree is here, but whatever. And the glass is kind of cracked and all these weird things. But as you're going through, it glows. Ooh, it glows weird colours. And if you... This took me ages to work out as a kid. If you walk while it's glowing, you'll immediately get attacked by an enemy. Not just any enemy. Oh no, you will be attacked by... let me find the reference. I will find a reference. Anyone remember where the stream is that we had these references? Probably not. Actually, it's probably here, right? There we go. You get attacked by a red dragon. Oh no, scary times. You've returned with chips. Yay! Welcome to the abandoned ocean research facility. You're very concerned we're about to fight Jen. We're not going to fight Jen. We fight a red dragon, which is what he was dressed up as. Sorry, they. So yeah, it's an annoying puzzle where you have to stop when the light comes on and move when it turns off, and it keeps tricking you into... It's just annoying. Anyway, when you get to the middle of it, you have to answer riddles. And if you don't answer them correctly, you'll be attacked by more dragons. One of the riddles has the option you need to pick out of the selective options you have is invisible. So thanks for that, game designers. If the game had dropped a bomb like that on you, you would have quit. So basically, they're trying to do everything they can to have you not actually get the thing that's here. But they're not out of tricks yet. Anyway, the thing that's here is dragon. You know, it's the dragon everybody knows and everybody loves because it's the dragon that appears in every Final Fantasy game. That's right. There he is. Wasn't quite what my plan was, but here we are. There are JRPGs where you fight your dad and all your dad's friends. Oh. Oh, I see. Yeah. Sorry, I forgot we were talking about Jen. This one's a proper dragon because it's got big old wings and arms. And it scratches you. If you had to fight and kill the only damn human character in this game with actual brain cells, you would have quit. We will. I did have a little think through to the beginning, to the next sort of major plot points in this game, and I did discover that there are actually some other characters with at least hints of brain cells coming up, and I think you'll be pleased to work out who it is. It's not much, but it's something. Yep, this looks absolutely like what I'm trying to do. It's fine, don't worry about it. So yeah, this is our next Pokemon. We get another Pokemon from the abandoned scientific research facility. It's this. Why? Because questions. Not answers. You'll never get any answers in this game. Just questions. Yeah. Charizard! Yeah! Brain cell distribution is very skewed. Jen and Jive are on the far right side, yes. There may be many reasons, but it does not matter. Yeah, so we got a dragon friend. This is a Charizard. Now, if the annoying puzzle of stopping when the blue light's on was not enough, if the riddle that you have to solve with the answer that isn't even visible isn't off-putting enough, and fighting this thing isn't off-putting enough, once you kill this thing, you immediately leave. And you go into your ship and you fly away. You then have to come back, despite the fact that this was just a room with this in it. You have to come back and you find that this thing is now properly broken, and that there's a big hole in the floor now. And one of these routes is going down the hole. and you can climb down it. If you climb down it, you will discover that there is a big old underwater facility that you now have to do another puzzle to navigate. You have to do a puzzle involving pipes and pressure valves and stuff. I don't even remember what it is, to be honest. And eventually you will get down to the bottom of this place. We're playing Zelda now. No, still FFVIII. Does it tell you all this, or do you have to figure it out yourself? None of this is explained. This is all just stuff you have to work. I should point out that this research facility also isn't on the map. It's in a corner of the map with nothing in it. Although, to be fair, that is a thing that happens in most Final Fantasy games. So, if you've played one and you know that, you're going to try it in all of the others. So, in Final Fantasy VII, that's where you get the Golden Chocobo. No, it's not. No, you have to have a Golden Chocobo to get there, and then you get a summon which involves 12 Knights of the Round Table, all doing an animation that takes bloody ages. Yeah, I got mixed up. You have to breed a Golden Chocobo. Takes bloody ages. Yes, it's in the far corner of a donut. Happens in Dragon Quest II. Must just be a thing. Anyway, eventually, you come to like this sort of weird underground cave system. And sort of like paths that you can walk down, and eventually you come to a sort of underground pool of some description. And it's got, I think it's got like, you know, weird old looking plinths and strange, probably crystals or something. A bit Cthulhu-y, must be said, but... And at the bottom of this you find... a small crane that is dipping into the water, and you're like, yeah, I wonder what this is. Where's that gif of the guy in front of the wall of strings and conspiracy theories? I feel like that's Chris now. Okay. You now have the option to winch up this small crane. What do you think's on the other side? There's a lot of this going to be happening today. So what do you think? You're looking at something when you said small crane, you pictured a bird? No, I mean a literal mechanical crane. Let's put some stalactites. What? If there, look at that. The problem with the conspiracy theory is it pretends to have answers. I can't promise any of those. Stalagmites. Make it look cool. Yeah. Also, you think submarine. Not a terrible suggestion. Does that give you hope? That it might be a submarine? No. I'm going to put it floating because I didn't really know where else to put it.
I hate this game.
We're not over yet. You hold those words back. You're gonna need them later. What is this? Why does this have so many legs? Good question.
I can hate it multiple times over, don't worry.
That's fair. You can hate it more later, it's fine, yeah, exactly. I'm running completely on memory here. I haven't seen this thing for a while, so but I vaguely remember the gist of it. I can't remember what his head looks like actually. Anyway, welcome to a super boss. This is not a Pokemon, you'll be pleased to know. This is it Omega Weapon or Ultima Weapon? I'm not going to draw it twice. You can fight a harder version of this in the last area of the game. I'm not going to do it then. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with his head, so I'm just gonna give it a knight's helmet. This is absolutely not a knight's helmet. Don't worry about it. Hang on, let's do it with the light. Well, it's got a sword and it was in a lake. I can go Arthurian if I want. It's not Ernstern. Not everything with a hairy bit of armor is Ernstern. Yeah, so this is... I actually want to see what it does look like because I can't remember at all. Oh, okay, that's even worse. Does have fewer legs than I thought, though. But I have somehow managed to make it less worse, even though I have added more legs. I'm not going to draw what I've just seen, because that's cheating. But, what is it you want to see? I just typed it in, is it? Ultima Weapon? Yes, Ultima Weapon. So, like Ultimate, but without the TE on the end. Yeah, Ultima Weapon, Final Fantasy VIII. Specify that, because there's one for each game, is a recurring boss. Yeah, so... I like my version better, actually. I'm happy with six-legged centaur knight. Did have a sword though. The sword I drew is less ridiculous. Yeah. Anyway, this is just at the bottom of the sea. I forgot the crotch face. That is true. Which is probably why I couldn't remember what the face looked like, because there were two. So my brain was just confused by the whole question. Yeah, so that you fight that, but it's not over yet. Oh no, because guess what? You don't just fight this thing. You can absorb a Pokemon from it. Oh yes. Anyone want to guess what that is? Now, I am not going to be able to draw this. Because A, I'm not even entirely sure what it looks like, and B, even if I was, I probably don't have time to draw it. Pokemon is the submarine. Alas, no. I wouldn't be surprised if there was a submarine Pokemon in this. Why not? If you're gonna be a train, sure. This is also a good piece of music. I like this one. Funky. Do, 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 do. All right, so let's give this a go. I'll try and get the basic shape sorted first. There's like a thing there or something. Does it have like wings or something? I'm gonna give it wings. So this is the ultimate Pokemon. It's not the last one because I forgot one earlier in the game, but this is the big one. And it's got like, it looks like a final boss of these games because it's got like lots of sort of busts of statues and things like that just sort of in it. And it's got like loads of squiggly designs and bird and a bike helmet. Would it help if I specified that this is like, is it like a sort of surface of a planet? Can't remember. This thing literally is in space. Like it's big. It might not be the surface of the planet. I might be confusing things. Anyway, this is the name of this Pokemon in the game, or you know, this is the name of the species of Pokemon. Let's say is Eden, and I guess the implication here is that this on its head is the Garden of Eden. And it's I don't know, don't really know what's happening. And like I say, it's just lots of tiny details and busts and probably more wings just sticking out of places, and it shoots lasers that just explode planets. It's a JRPG, these things happen. Honestly, no, from memory, not a terrible drawing. Let's have a look. Yeah, that was about as close as I was going to get. Okay, so I was a bit wrong about the whole planet thing, but there is an implication that it's something to do with the Garden of Eden. There's something on its back that's important. Anyway, look at the pictures and like yours better. I quite like mine. It's pretty cool. Yeah. Honestly, I don't like the visual. Well, I kind of do. This would have worked quite good as the last boss. You forgot the lady? Like, which one? Look closer. I guess the model in the game doesn't show too much detail. If you look at the drawings of it, it's a bit more clear. Look at some of our wings. It looks like something from Final Fantasy X, actually. Oh god, no draw-through of that's going to be a pain in the ass. Yeah, so anyway, Eden. Ultimate Pokemon. It uses Hyper Beam. But yeah, I thought it was just kind of like the little thing here, and then there's like a big old crystal or something. It's quite Bayonetta-ish, in a way. Anywho, so that's a thing. The things I quite like about this sort of thing is I like it when something like this exists in the world, and there is enough evidence for you to think that this is significant, but not enough evidence for you to understand how. So for example, in this, it's like, this is called Eden, and it's like, well, clearly there's something going on here with the gardens, right? Because the gardens are the places, and they were built on like the ancient sites, and like there's a garden theme happening here, and we found this in like an underground Cthulhu temple. Like, presumably there's an ancient thing here with gardens and stuff. Oh, are you just starting to see detail? Yeah, there's also one in Final Fantasy IX, which is a super boss, and I'm just like, there's enough for me here to understand that this can be a thing, and this isn't just pulled out of nowhere. But it's also just really interesting as to what it is, and there's no real explanation. I like stuff like that. Yeah. So while the design is a bit messy, I like the idea. And it really does feel like a kind of failed, not a failed, but a rejected final boss design, because it is just an amalgamation of statues, and that's what they used to do for final bosses of these games. They kind of took a bit of a shortcut with Final Fantasy VII and just had Sephiroth on a bigger version of Sephiroth, but you should see Final Fantasy VI, my word. Anyway, enough of that. I guess that's it in terms of Pokemon catching. Yeah, we got a train, we got Charizard, and we got a garden, floating garden that's the size of a planet. There they are, yeah. And we met Jen again. Oh yeah, and we got the Phoenix as well, who occasionally turns up. Does that mean we have to do story now? Oh yeah, the cat. What about the cat? Right. I'm gonna take a drink. On the plus side, my headache is clearing, so that's something. Right. Sleep. I try and do it away from the microphone. In the style of Chocolate Rain guy, what was his name? Awful Game is medical. That was all. It was all of the remedy pluses. The cats. They cured my headache. Well, kick the microphone though. Yes. So let's have a breather and go to some flowers. This game is more of a headache, so it drowned out the one you had. That seems... I cannot argue with your logic. How am I going to do this? Okay, let's do a thing. This is probably not going to look fantastic, but I'm going to do my best. These are flowers, not wiggly eyes, it's fine. That's the point, is Jelly an enemy in this game? Because that's usually a recurring enemy, but I don't remember it in this. It's basically just a blob with lots of eyes. Okay, let's do that. Trust me, I'm a doctor. Which is actually true, funnily enough. Because what I want is a field full of flowers, and I can't be bothered to draw a field full of flowers. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to draw most of a field full of... Well, I'm going to draw a small section of a field full of flowers. Now I have a tileable texture. Let's break that a bit. Here's my field of flowers. Seam didn't work out quite as well as I'd hoped, but it's fine. And here it is stretching off into the distance. Beautiful. Many flowers. It good. Feel like you should be seeing shapes of that if you unfocus your eyes, yeah. Cool. Anyway, field of flowers. It does look like it's quite far down and bigger than it should be, but don't worry about it. Here's a field of flowers. So, we are now here. And we decide, this is by the orphanage, by the way. We've gone back to the orphanage of plot convenience, if you remember that. This is one of the buildings of the orphanage. I don't know why it's Greco-Roman, it just sort of is. And let's do it over here for the sake of framing. Yeah, so Cheery and Simon, do you remember there are characters in this? Cheery and Simon, well, barely, decide to have a little bit of alone time by the field, where one of them grew up. It's a windy day. The romance plot, and they have a talk about the future and things like that, and that hey, Cheery's probably bad things are going to happen to Cheery, and they make an agreement Jive is also here. I believe canonically. I believe Jive is actually in this cutscene, so that's cool. They make an agreement because they don't want to get separated again. And they say, if ever we get separated, and if ever we need to find each other, we're going to come here. We're going to come to the flower field. And we're going to wait for the other one to come here. That's how it's going to work. So this is their place. So I only remembered that this was in the thing during the last draw through, and I was like, I should probably mention this. Because it is somewhat important. And like, I wouldn't expect a good payoff, but it's at least a setup. Like, sure, this isn't just going to be random. Like, I'm mentioning this for a reason. Getting all the good music today. Jive is not party to this agreement. Jive will obviously go their own way, should they get lost. It didn't bring a tennis ball. Fulfilled without playing with the dog. I know. To be fair, Cheery's idea of playing with the dog is firing it from the cannon on her arm, but they reference it because Simon and Cheery both die of stupid syndrome and Jive comes back to prance through the flowers again. Sure. I mean, I could end the game like that, honestly. Like, the game sets it up so that I could end it like that. Calling RSPCA. Yeah, it's a weird thing. It's a trick that the dog can learn, being fired from a cannon at enemies. Yeah, the ending's weird. If you wanted any sensible closure, why? Yeah, first question, why? And second point, you'll be disappointed. Yeah. So they agree they will come back to the Field of Flowers. And this is where they will meet if ever they get separated. Anyway. We need to meet the president. No, they won't. Or maybe they will. So, we go back to Estes, and we are invited into the presidential palace, where we will meet the president, who will inform us what's going on. There's like this sort of high-tech, computery, table-y thing. That looks terrible. Let's just do it flat. It's fine. Don't worry about it. And there's probably like holograms of the big old floating cube thing. Scan lines and stuff. Old style holograms. Anyway, so we turn up here. Now. How do you draw people? I don't think I've ever drawn Simon twice looking the same way. As long as they've got the half-closed eyes, it's pretty obvious who it is. If you learn, please let us know. I'll hopefully I'll be screaming with delight. Their wonderful, charismatic main character. Anyway, President.
This song haunts me.
I feel like it's appropriate for this cutscene, though. Again, I'm pretty sure this is the music that plays when you go up into space. You're just sort of floating around. Yeah, so we meet President Jimmy. Who is looking a little bit older than we remember from the flashbacks. Because if you recall, when Jimmy came to Estus and was enslaved and such, somebody convinced him, hey, you've got a bit of charisma, why don't you be the leader of the resistance? Turns out he was the leader of the resistance, and they won, and now he's president. And he has been president for the last 16 or so years. Good for him. Anyway, we finally meet in a way that doesn't involve us possessing their brain in the past. And he's like, hey, it's the fairies! Ah, Dishy told me all about you. Thanks for helping us back then, like 16 years ago. And you're like, I don't know what you're talking about, you're weird. So yeah, Jimmy's doing alright for himself. And he's very laid back, very... That's what he could, because they didn't know what was happening back when we were possessing their brains in the past, or not possessing, they're inhabiting their brains in the past. But they could tell something was up. They could tell that there were kind of like voices floating around that weren't supposed to be there. So they referred to them as the fairies. But it was us, because it was all Dishonor Jesse's idea. Actually, you're going to be quite important, so I'm glad I drew you. Also hope that Jen is at least vice president. Yeah, I'll, hang on. If we cut back to, the last stream. Here. That's Jen. And that's Jim. They're all here. I don't have really space to draw them in this scene, so let's make the hologram small. Wonderful. I would go so far as to say that Jimmy is basically the face of the presidency and that Jen is doing most of the work, because, you know. Yeah. Yep. And they do kids' birthday parties on the side. You know, it's nice to make a living somehow. Yeah, I can believe that Jen's actually the one running the country, so I'll go with that. And Jimmy's just sort of along for the ride. Jimmy's like, yeah, sure, whatever. Right. Why are we here? Good question. Apart from to have an actual reconciliation between the characters that we've controlled over the course of the game. There's really basically almost no interaction between these characters. It really is quite surprising how little there actually is in terms of personal interaction. So basically, they say, right, we know a few things about what's going on. We also have a kind of plan as to how to sort it out. Our plan does, however, hinge on somebody who is mad, so we best let him explain it. So, Dr. what was his name? Professor Mangle. This guy. It was mostly rough. Attempts to explain what they know and what they don't know. So allow me to give it a go. Okay, so here's what we know. STPP, stop, is inhabiting people's minds in much the same way that Dishonored Jessie allows us to inhabit other people's minds. Only she is a lot stronger at doing it and can actually control people's actions. What is she actually trying to do, though? So what she's trying to do, and precisely how we know this, I don't know, but what she's trying to do is she's trying to amass enough magical power to be able to compress time. Because she doesn't actually have any power in the future per se. She wants power over all of time. And as a consequence wants to get the power to be able to compress time. What does that mean? How does that affect anything? What precisely is that actually going to achieve? Because if she compresses time completely, nothing will have existed. The answer's on the screen. So, hey Kira, how you doing? So yeah, she's all about compressing time for reasons. But how does she actually possess people? There's the thing. Now she possesses people because I think he was wearing like a gown sort of thing. Oh, he was wearing shoes, wasn't he? What about that? Now she possesses people, funnily enough, because of Dishonored Jessie. You see, over the course of the research that Professor Mangle did, or, well, over the course of the research that Professor Mangle will do, he hasn't actually done it yet, but Ultimise is in the future, so she can reap the benefits of things that haven't happened yet. He will develop a machine called the Junction Machine Dishonored Jessie, or Junction Machine Dishy, that will allow her to have the powers of Dishonored Jessie, i.e. the ability to send your consciousness back in time. So it's basically this guy's fault. So I would suggest at this point just killing him. But apparently we're not going to do that. So, but she's trying, from what we can tell of what's happened at this point, we can tell that she's trying to get to, she's trying to get to Sorceress copyright, because she possessed Cheery just to unlock copyright in space. I don't know how she knew we were going to space, but whatever. And that caused her to plummet to Earth, and presumably she's now around somewhere wreaking havoc, and we've got to go and stop her. But they have an additional plan to this, because... how does this even work? It vaguely makes sense when it's explained, but if you try and reconstruct it from the things that actually make sense in this game, it's difficult. Okay, so, but they have a plan. This guy, Professor Mangle, has a plan. His plan is to use... what is it? Is it's Final Fantasy? How does this even work? Yeah. Okay. So here's what I'm gonna say. I'm not gonna guarantee this is correct, but what I'm gonna say is that STPP is trying to possess, or has possessed, copyright, because presumably that's why she left the body of Cheery, is to go into the body of copyright. So that's a problem, because copyright is still a very, very powerful sorceress that had to have an entire city's worth of an uprising to stop. But that happened off screen, so we don't even know how that worked. Mangle has a plan that if we defeat copyright, which in and of itself is a bit of an assumption, if we manage to defeat copyright and Cheery is nearby, but also Dishonored Jessie is nearby, then we can send the consciousness back. We can, how does this work? We can somehow send back someone's consciousness to a different point in time. Basically, we can screw with people's brains and time enough that time will just collapse. And somehow that will allow us to get to the future. That's as much information as you're gonna get from me, because I honestly can't reassemble any of this information to make it so that it makes sense that we can get to the future. But that's the plan, is that we're going to go to the future by killing the sorceress, putting somebody's consciousness into somebody else's body at the same time that STPP tries to go into the body of someone else, and that's going to cause time to collapse. Why is the plan to get to the future? So that we can kill STPP before she can actually do anything properly bad. Because apparently time is still linear somehow. All the time she's throwing her consciousness into the past, it's still linear. Do they need a DeLorean? If only it were that simple. Feel like that would help. I really want to bring up a write-up of this because it doesn't make sense, but it's at least better than the explanation I just gave. It's something to do with that. It's something to do with defeating the sorceress, the consciousness of defeating copyright so that the consciousness of STPP can leave copyright's body, start going into someone else's body at the same time that Dishonored Jessie sends their consciousness back into the past. And I don't know how that connects with the future. But somehow it's gonna cause a time collapse or something. It's gonna cause time compression a bit, but not enough for it to be that bad. Enough for us to be able to just sort of swim through time a bit and find where we're going for. It's still linear, but we can screw with time and make it not linear to go to the future and defeat the person mess with time. Exactly, yes. So yes. That's the plan. I use plan in inverted quotes. Again, this is the conversation where there may be many reasons, but it does not matter crops up. Who came up with this plan? Take a wild stab in the dark. I'll give you 3 guesses as to precisely who came up with this plan. Overflow the magic in the time stream. Clearly a good idea, yeah. Okay, kill him. I have not thought about this until I said it as an offhand joke now, but I think killing him would actually solve the problem. I don't know if there's some sort of predetermination paradox going on there, but, you know, we know to kill him because he did a thing in the future that causes something to tell us that we should kill him, so we kill him, so he can't do the thing that causes us to know that we have to kill him, and so on and so forth. So to avoid a paradox, we're going to go to the future instead. Yeah, so basically, here are the key takeaways from this conversation. 1, Jimmy is president. Good for him. 2, Jen is actually president. Good for them. 3, copyright is now free and is already wreaking havoc on the planet because they caused the lunar cry to happen. I'm still not entirely sure why that benefited them. Oh, we got her out of space. That makes sense, yes. 4, STPP is in the future trying to compress time into a single point so that nothing can have existed, and the reason she's doing that is because shush. And number 5, our plan is to kill copyright while STPP is possessing her, intercept the changeover of consciousness possession while Dishonored Jessie's there. Dishonored Jessie will then send somebody's brain consciousness back into the past, which will somehow cause a collapse of time, enough for us to be able to travel to the future to stop STPP from doing the whole time compression business. That's basically what happened in this scene. Do you see why I mentioned in the introduction that I'm slightly tired and I had a headache? And that it doesn't really matter that I was slightly tired and had a headache because nothing I could do, even if I had full clarity, I would not be able to make sense of this. Did Moffat write this? Moffat at least knows how to write something that is nonsensical and paradoxical, but fun. This is just nonsense. There's a kind of slightly satisfying narrative to him, even though it doesn't really make sense. This doesn't have that. This is worse than Moffat. And I say that as a Moffat fan. Well, as a Doctor Who Moffat fan, anyway. So yeah. It's wibbly wobbly, timey wimey. Literally wibbly wobbly. There's going to be some wibbly wobbly stuff happening. So, I guess we better do this. So after Jimmy very excitedly says, "Oh, can I fly in the plane? I've heard about this plane. It's your spaceship plane. It's been in space. I've always wanted to go in it, but it's just sort of been floating around in space. Can I go in it?" And we're like, "Yeah, sure." So he excitedly runs off and gets into the spaceship. because that's Jimmy. And yeah, we get on it too. And then we have another briefing as to what's going to go on. Basically, our spaceship is going to crash into... Well, let me draw that. So the spaceship is going to crash into the side of the big old cube. If I do it like that. Yeah, whatever, I've got a perspective in my head. Yeah, so we're just going to sort of crash into this thing and literally rip it open with the claws of our spaceship, because remember, our spaceship has claws. Robot claws. I said they'd come in handy. Because of course, robot claws are vital for space exploration. Also, making your spaceship look like a dragon is also vital for space exploration. It just sort of smashes head first into this thing, and literally just rips a hole into the side of it, and we break in that way. There's a big old energy field around it as well, but we can break through that. Yeah, so it's got like jet engines and stuff. It's a weird thing, but hey, since when have I complained about the level of technology in this world? Yeah, so we break into this thing because of course we do. I think it roars as well. That's another functionality that is vital for your space exploration. You need a spaceship that roars. Because of course, in space, everybody can hear you scream. We all know this. So yeah, we smash into that in bad perspective, and I guess I should sort that out. Yeah, sure, whatever. And we break in a big hole in the thing, and we rush in, and we get ready to do a fight. Now, who do you think we meet first? Ourselves? That honestly, I would not be surprised if that were true, but that is not true. Think about characters that we haven't seen for a while, and who might be relevant to this particular situation. And then forget that second bit. The non-binarity? Not quite. Non-binarity just chilling in front of the TV back on Earth. They've had enough of this nonsense. Hold that thought. No, it's everybody's favourite characters. I'm surprised you've forgotten that they were even in this game. A virtual bowling pin trio is still a thing. It's, yeah, I like it. Anything to give these characters personality. So, did you remember that Grumpy Jessie and Wide Jessie are in this game? And that they're two soldiers in the Galbadian army? Even when there's space. There's plenty of space, but that's just how they are. Yes, please. Keep playing music, thank you. Why are they here? They're in the Galbadian army. Or are they? Because as we come in, we hear a conversation between them, and they're like, "Oh God, why are we even doing this? This is such hard work. We keep getting demoted because we keep failing. Oh, this is such a pain in the backside." It's this. I think this was Grumpy Jessie, and this was Wide Jessie, because I remember it being the wrong way around. So Grumpy Jessie's like, "Oh God, I'm fed up with doing all this. This is not what I signed up for. Is, you know, taking over spaceships and bringing monsters to the planet and all that sort of stuff. Oh God, it's such a pain. We don't even get paid very much." And Wide Jessie retorts by saying, "Well, if it's such a pain, why don't you just quit?" And Grumpy Jessie goes, "Yeah, good point. I'm quitting. You're coming with me." I was like, "What?" "We're quitting. Quickly. Come, we're going home. We're leaving now. We're just going to leave the story. Bye. We've got fed up with this." So yeah, he just resigns on the spot and leaves. Yeah. And that's the end of that chapter. Yeah, Wide Jessie didn't actually have any plans to resign, but I'm assuming they're a couple. That's my thing. Because it's like, oh, okay, if you're leaving, I guess so. So you're coming with me. We're resigning together. So yeah, that's the thing. That's the first thing you see when you come in here. Wrap up that story arc, why not? Okay, do I have time to do the next thing? I have time to do the first half of the next thing. Let's do that. Right. So we go into the sort of main hall of the place. This is after doing some dungeon crawling and all that sort of stuff. Going through the big old crystal. Fighting those weird elastoid things. We've got a limited selection of music today, but it's been good. And who do we meet now? Who do we meet? Part 2. This one should be the slightly more obvious. It's Kyle again. Yes, Kyle's the one who did all this, because if you remember, he was whispered to by the sorceress. His coat is still a bit tattered from the last time we beat him up, but... Oh no, he's got his... Oh, that's part of the coat. And then he's got his slightly torn waistcoat. Or is he also a possessed witch? He is not a sorceress as far as I'm aware. What are his motivations for anything he does? Again, he got brainwashed by TM. Or by STPP, we subsequently discover. And he thinks, oh, it's my lifelong wish to become the Sorceress's Knight. I am the Sorceress's Knight. And that's all he can think about. So he's been brainwashed. That's his whole thing. Just Miss Hart left. I know that doesn't actually happen. It just makes me laugh every time I say something stupid and see that. Magic, yes. Why is brainwashing only a thing for Kyle? Very good question. Yeah, oh, you did. Okay, fair enough. And he's like, I will defend the honor of the sorceress because I'm the sorceress's knight. And we just keep trying to say, Kyle, you're an idiot. There's literally none of this is actually true. You were brainwashed, you idiot. He's like, if I was brainwashed, why am I here? I was actually doing it, huh? Huh? See, I actually feel it. It's true. Oh my god, you're an idiot. Why doesn't she use that on anyone else? I guess she used it on the entire city before, except us. I don't know, probably through the television or something. I don't know. For everyone else, it's telling me why I mean nonsense, but for Kyle, it straight up gets brainwashed. Maybe it takes a lot out of them. I don't know. One at a time. It's magic. You can make up arbitrary rules for anything. But just as we're doing this, who should turn up? I never know how to draw them. It's because they've appeared like 3 times in the entire game. Should refer to Chibi's fan art. You still say it's sorceress and night thing. It's part of the reason Simon got sudden dokies. I can't find any reference to that in the game. Fan out of what? Fan out of the non-binarity. They're here. They turned up. Because you remember, they side with Kyle because they're a posse or whatever. I know I'm drawing them badly, so. Don't worry, it gets better. So the non-binarity turn up, and Kyle is like, aha, my trusted goons, the posse or whatever. Help me defeat the evil incursion people, the people who are here to overthrow our glorious sorceress. And the non-binarity basically go, Kyle, what's going on with you? This isn't what we signed up for. We're supposed to be just with school students. What's happening? This whole sorceress thing. This isn't fun anymore. We're not this isn't posse work. This is just nonsense at this point. And including Eyepatch 1, who up until now has spoken entirely in single-syllable words, shouting them, actually gets a coherent thought out and manages to say, "Look, Kyle, we've kind of had enough of this. We're your friend. We'll always be your friend, and we're certainly not going to side with these guys." But we've just sort of had enough of this entire situation. We didn't sign up for this. We don't know what's going on with you. We wish you the best, but we're just going to pop off if that's all right. It's supposed to be school students. This is just nonsense at this point. Non-binarity tearing apart the entire plot of the game. Pretty much, they just go, none of this makes sense. Like, what? We don't know why you're doing this, so we're just going to sort of leave. And Kyle goes, yeah, okay. Yeah. You're my friends. I respect your decisions. Cool. I'll see you around. And the non-binarity proceeds to leave in a truly neutral fashion. Non-binarities have the most sense. This is what I was talking about earlier. Carl just lets them leave because he's like, well, I have no quibbles against you. You're not against the sorceress, so you can do what you want. You're my friends, I know you're alright. Yeah, so they're just like, yeah, this isn't the posse thing anymore, you know. We'll always be your friend, but you're an idiot. And then they leave. So yeah, the non-binarity they take the non-binary route. I guess that makes sense. It's good versus evil. No, it's not. And just leave because hey, this isn't what they signed up for. Yeah, and they go and hang out with Jen because why not? Yeah, and then they leave. I always thought this was kind of like a, oh hey, you remember Grumpy Jesse and White Jesse? Are we gonna fight them again? Oh no, they just leave. Ah, you remember the non-binarity? Are we gonna fight them? Oh no, they just leave. It's kind of like a constant, not double take. What's the word? Fake out. Can you make that a thing? Just erase all plot and make the story around the non-binarity meeting up with Jen and Jen becoming the cool non-binary mentor person for them. Also, Jive is there. Absolutely, I'm not going to stop you. I'm sure they get on great with Jen. Yes, an anti-boss fight. There are enough boss fights coming up. And that's how, next time, we're going to start. So the non-binarity and Wide and Grumpy Jesse have now left the plot. Because they knew that they deserved better. I wish I was making that up. That is actually what's happened. Couldn't have phrased it better myself. Thank you, game. And next time, the final confrontation with Kyle. See what happens. You love them for that. It's great. I knew you'd like that. This is what I was talking about earlier when I was like, there is a decision that's made later in the game which demonstrates that there are other characters with brain cells. So they've been a bit silly up until now, but they've just been going along with the flow. They haven't actually made any decisions themselves. The one decision they actually do decide to make, and they're like, yeah, we're not having any of this. We're just gonna go. So yeah, with that done, we end for now, and we have confrontations to do in the lunatic Pandora, and eventually time melt and go to the future and stuff. I can't wait to explain to you what the future looks like, because it's absolutely not what you think. So yeah, thank you everyone for coming along. Hope you had a grand old time. Hang on, wasn't my microphone too loud this whole time? No, it looks fine. Yeah. Are there hoverboards? Not that I know of. Oh, no. There's a lift. That's the first thing that popped into my head. It's like, oh, is that a hoverboard? No, it's a lift. Future timey-wimey things and inevitable headaches, absolutely. Yeah, so next time we're going to finish off the lunatic Pandora stuff. I guess, spoilers, we go to the future. There's a lift. Yeah. Labeled elevator. It's a terrible lift as well. I guess you can't even really call it a lift. More just a set of scales. Anyway. And there's a fair old amount to do in the final area. And then there's the end of the game. So I guess we've got like 2 more streams of this? I guess? Maybe 3. So see how long it takes, I don't know. Because like I said, there's a fair old amount of stuff to do in the last area. Yeah, we'll see. Also, I've got to work out how to draw wibbly wobbly time nonsense. Because it's... We're working out. It's interesting. We have not dropped a single frame since the beginning of the stream. Like when there was that big collapse of Frame Man just jumping headfirst into it. Since then, nothing. Weird. I will never pretend to understand what's going on at Twitch or what's going on with Frame Man. They are mysteries that will forever remain mysteries. So anyway, thank you everyone for coming along. Hope you enjoyed is a strong word. I hope you experienced this. Tomorrow, I guess we're going to start Grim Fandango. That'd be cool. Because you arrived, Frame Man and you? Buds. Oh, cool. Nestano's got some friends. Thanks for letting some of your favourite characters just go home. I didn't let them do anything. They did that of their own accord. When I was younger, I was kind of like, oh, well, they just sort of leave. But now I'm like, yeah, good for them. It's funny how you priorities change. Yeah. So yeah, tomorrow probably Grim Fandango. Try a bit of point and click adventure games. If you're drawing some of your favorite characters, just go home. That's fair. So that's a thing. If you support me on Patreon, I need to do a Patreon post update because I haven't done one of those for a while. There's a new Hitman highlights video up, part 3. It's in the Discord, but I'll put it on Patreon at some point. For those of you who aren't, there's a new video where I draw my own versions of the Deacons of the Deep up. So you can watch that. There's also some other stuff that I've forgotten. Yeah, things. It's a good one. I'm glad people like it. Glad people like them. Plurals. Yeah, I'm working on some shorter stuff that will come out faster soon. But I've also came up with another long idea today, so that's going to be interesting. Yeah, I keep coming up with ideas that are just going to take far too long to do. That's me. I came up with another long story for the Outliers today. Oh dear. I think that makes like 10 at this point. 10 30-page comics. They'll never get made. So yeah. Have a grand old time, everyone. I'll see you tomorrow for some pointsy clicksy adventure gamesies. If you're into that sort of thing. If not, have a grand old time doing whatever you're going to do instead. I'll see you around. I need to get some sleep. Hope you get some sleep as well. Also you two, you three. Okay? Pro bono. The Edge cases are... I don't know, brain's not working. We also need some music to end on. I know exactly what music we need to end on. Okay, cool. See you around. Goodbye.